back to Fly Over Film Country. I'm Isaac Sims. This is a podcast about films hosted by residents of Arkansas and Oklahoma. We want everyone to know that the movies are great, and we're building a community of film fans in flyover country.
And today, you need to gird your loins because we are discussing the film that hot moms everywhere are loving. It is The Devil Wears Prada 2. So,
Woohoo!
Where do we start? Actually, I kind of want to ask you, you've had a day. You had a great day today.
I've had a great day. You know what?
So,
let's just give a round of applause. Oh, dang it. It's not working for some reason.
I got
I
it.
had the volume up and everything. Yeah. So yeah, I had a great day. I have been working a lot and I took today off, and I started by ferrying my daughter to school, which was a little bit more complicated than normal because there was a tantrum involved. But when I got back, I watched Alex Cox's Repo Man, that I think you would find interesting. It has Harry Dean Stanton and Emilio Estevez, and it's 92 minutes. It's off the wall. It has good music. It's really funny. They are just repossessing cars the whole movie, and
okay. Hey,
smoking.
Real quick question. The tantrum, that was your tantrum that you threw, right? That was
mine.
Not,
Sorry,
okay.
I wasn't clear on that, but yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. So anyway, so they're repossessing cars and smoking cigarettes?
Yep.
Crack.
And then there's like a radioactive material that in the trunk where random characters throughout the movie will open the trunk and then get blasted into oblivion, and all that's left are their boots that are on fire. It's such a funny gag.
That's great.
I really like that movie. I got my brother got me a Criterion of it for my birthday. And I've been wanting to rewatch it, and I loved it. So I saw that. Then I folded some laundry and went to see Hokum, which
what a day.
Hokum was like my favorite horror movie that I've seen in a long, long time. And I got to talk about it with someone. So it's got to happen at some point.
So is it, my friend who saw it, I had one of my friends text me the other day and tell me she watched it. She said it's like on the same level as Weapons. Do you think it's on the same level? Do you think it's better than Weapons?
I think it's on the same level. Hokum was like the scariest movie I've seen in a long time.
Okay. She said it was scary.
I audibly went at one point, which I never do in movies.
Was anyone else in the theater with you, or was it just you?
There were like 4 other people.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. Cool.
So after that, I went and saw Devil Wears Prada. I was the only man in there, and there were probably like 35 women in there.
Love that.
At 2:00 on a Monday.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that was fun. But people were like having a good time in Devil Wears Prada. Probably not like a great time. As good a time as like, the moms going around dinner time or after dinner time after a couple drinks,
Sure. I think, that might make a difference.
Yeah, that was my day. And now I'm potting.
And now you're potting. That's great.
Yep.
I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad
with the
that
realist
you got
live dog.
with the OGs,
Mm-hmm.
Another OG special. I'm glad you got your tantrum out of the way early in the day, so you could just really kind of coast the rest of the day. So
yeah, it was
awesome.
a situation where the child really had to be the parent in that moment.
Unfortunately, it happens from time to time, and when your kid is ready for therapy, I will give her some referrals.
Thanks, appreciate it.
So, no, I'm kidding. She's
all
great.
good.
You're great. All good.
What was your viewing experience of Devil Wears Prada 2? Well, okay, so, how do you want to do this? We got on, we kind of talked through stuff real quick, and then we literally dived right in.
Just went right in.
So do you want to talk about, I watched the first one for the first time ever last night.
Okay, so I love that we're talking about this in real time. Why didn't we do this beforehand? Sorry, everyone listening.
It's fine.
It's fine. This is really kind of our thing. And
because you can't talk about the second one without talking about the first one.
Sure.
So,
and Craig Lyle will be maybe annoyed that we're doing this. And to Craig, I'm so sorry. Anyway, he might not listen
Craig,
to it since Walter's not on here.
Respectfully.
So we are supposed to do a Devil Wears Prada episode later this year. And so we can talk about it to some extent now and just to get it over with and sub something else into that episode. Because we have to talk about the original. So, let's just talk about it. I want to hear, you watched it for the first time last night. I was curious if you were going to watch it beforehand, if you had time to watch it before you saw the sequel. So, as a man from Central Arkansas who watched The Devil Wears Prada for the first time in the year 2026, what was your viewing experience? What did you think of it?
I thought it was great. I thought it was like a high quality Hallmark movie, like in a good way.
That feels very insulting, and I feel like you would never say that as a compliment to literally anything else.
Well, here's what I mean by it. And I'll kind of summarize my thoughts about both movies in 2 sentences. Devil Wears Prada 1, the stronger film, but with a weaker ending. Devil Wears Prada 2, more interesting, slightly less coherent, much stronger character development, and much more exciting.
Okay.
That's how I feel. Like, and I'll give an example of this. She in Devil Wears Prada 1, Andy is like, it looks like I'm gonna break up with my boyfriend, and we're kind of like, yeah, it's headed that way. Like, regardless of whether or not you decide to go into fashion or abandon everything and go towards journalism. She sleeps with Simon Baker, who looks like so amazing. Like, everyone in both movies looks amazing. Simon Baker, I was like, whew, this guy, I forgot about him. Mr. Mentalist.
See, like, I don't find him attractive.
Jess walked in at one point and she was like, oh, I like that guy. I forgot about him. He's very charming in the movie, but they sleep together, and it's like there's like 15 or 20 minutes left in the movie, and they're like, here's the central conflict. And to me, that's like a flaw of the movie. Everything else is pretty much like, hey, she's getting more competent at her job. She's learning to take it seriously. And it's funny. Everybody's funny. Everybody's good. There's amazing, like, memorable jokes. But, like, plot-wise, and, like, plot isn't everything. But,
what
like,
do you think is the central
story-wise,
conflict that's introduced with 20 minutes left in the movie?
That Jocelyn is gonna take Miranda's job. That's like the big thing, and then you realize that Miranda was ahead of it the whole time.
I don't know. I would disagree that is not the central conflict of the movie. But I think that if you're watching it for the first time,
we're just two girls talking.
Hey, we're just two gal pals, just chit-chatting. I think on the first watch, yes, that does feel like that's the
that's
central
fair.
Conflict. I think that this.
I'm assuming that like that's a fundamental difference between us, because like that is my very recent first time exposure, and I'm assuming you've seen this multiple times.
So The Devil Wears Prada, that is a Clement family staple. We still quote it regularly to this day. Like, this is a movie I remember watching repeatedly throughout all of middle school and most of like high school. Like, it is one of those movies that I will almost always be down to watch. Like, it is a movie I've seen several times, and it is honestly so good on a rewatch. I mean, clearly I've seen it so many times, but like it's really good on a rewatch, because I think like you get to dig in with these characters a little bit more on obviously that's true of every rewatch, right? Like or that's the goal with a rewatch, I think, is that's the hope, is like you get to like dig into these characters and notice the subtleties a little bit more than you would the first time around. Did you know anything about the plot of the first one before watching it?
I just know that she starts out plucky and becomes more competent, and that's all I knew. Okay. I didn't know anything about like the end or
sure. Yeah. Okay.
Like, and the are you wearing the Chanel boots? Yep.
The Chanel boots?
Like,
yes. Yeah. Yes, I am. Yeah. Yeah, and the first one has so many great one-liners like that, right?
Oh yeah.
The one that my family quotes
A
all the time
floral
is
arrangement for spring.
groundbreaking. Um, my family always says, "Why is no one ready?"
Yeah, yeah.
That's one we say a lot. I think "Gird Your Loins" is really popular. But even in the midst of all this like comedy, you can see how I think it's easy to view Miranda as the villain in a
Yeah.
nuanced
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
But I think in a lot of ways Nate is a villain. I think I think Miranda can for sure be the villain. I mean, she's the devil who wears Prada, right? But I think that it's less about who is the good guy and who is the bad guy and more, and I think you see that more in the sequel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of these like very nuanced characters who have a like way more depth to them than I think we have historically given these characters. uh and so I think you see those. I think you're right, the character development is much more fleshed out in the sequel, but what I love about it is it doesn't pick up right where we left off, or like these characters have continued to develop over time and haven't just been
Mm-hmm.
like frozen in time, but we're 20 years into the past what we saw the last time we saw them. And I think that that's kind of the hard thing about legacy sequels like this is that how do you pick up these characters when in real time 20 years have passed? Or if we think about like Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick, right? Like 30 years had gone by, right? Like
Yeah.
so much time has passed, and so what are these characters doing? And I love where we see all these characters at the beginning of the second one.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Because
I would
Andy
love.
has like become a journalist and
Yes,
has like
she left,
gone that
which we
route.
see her leave and kind of move in that direction at the end of the original.
Throw her pager into the fountain.
Amazing, great moment, chef's kiss, love that. I mean, we've all had that. Not a pager, because did you ever? I never had a pager. You didn't have a pager.
It had such a like atrocious ringtone that at first I thought it was a pager, even though I knew like okay, it's a cell phone. It just stuck in my mind. I was like, oh, that's awful.
It feels like a pager, and it might as well be one, right?
Looks like a duck.
And yeah, so she throws it into the water fountain, and it's beautiful and moving, and you can tell at the end of the movie, like clearly they've had this moment, right? Like Miranda and Andy have had this moment where they have had this impact on each other, right? And then I love that Miranda has no recollection of her when we pick up 20 years later, which, to be fair,
Get to see that in the trailer. I'm sorry.
yeah, you see that in the
Nigel?
trailer.
Who's
That's
this?
not a spoiler. It was like, who are you? And Nigel goes, one of the Emilys, and she goes, who? It's amazing. I lost what I was gonna say. But yeah, we see her move towards journalism, and we see Emily has moved on and is now what is she where's she working? What company is she working for?
Vanguard, and then Vanguard gets shut down. Oh, Emily? Emily's working at Dior.
I was
Dior.
like
Yeah.
Vanguard, yeah. And Miranda is still head of Runway.
Andy's company that got shut.
That got shut down, right? And so, anyway, what were you gonna say?
One, I really appreciated just generally that the movie went in this different direction where it's like, it took me a while to get used to. They made this intentional decision to humanize Miranda more. Mm-hmm. And that takes away some of the entertainment. And I think that they knew that, but it still works pretty well, even though it's like she's not like just throwing zingers every 5 minutes,
Or literally throwing her coat.
Right. Yeah. Oh man. When you see her hanging up the coat.
Yeah. It's like, oh, you're like a shell of who you were, and like that's what made you so great. But, they make that joke of like, she can't throw she got in trouble with HR because of that.
HR got onto her.
Yeah.
But just generally, like, this new world that it's set in is like mergers and acquisitions, kind of a reflection of what's happening in Hollywood too, but also just like all of business. Tech shows up, like Justin Theroux's character, so damn funny. Like, I was cracking up every time he was delivering lines.
Just a
so
freaking
funny.
bozo. Yeah.
And when it's the impact it's having on their industry, but like also everything on like journalism and film and TV and all businesses.
Any any industry, but especially
AI
is
explicitly mentioned.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I do feel like this.
It's kind of like Succession light. That's kind of what I was thinking.
I had that same thought. It was them meeting on the boats and then, or like taking the boat to this like, really huge mansion house thing. And BJ Novak was so good. I think he was great.
He was perfectly cast too.
He was.
Apparently he's like a stand-in for David Ellison, who is positioned to, he and his father's company, they're positioned to buy Warner Brothers Discovery.
Right. Okay. Yeah. And we should note that Justin Theroux's character is a stand-in for Jeff Bezos, and Emily is supposed to be like Jeff Bezos's new wife or whatever, which is ironic because they're helping with the Met Gala, which is happened earlier today. As of this recording, we recorded on the same day as the Met Gala.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you like, do you pay attention to those in the past? Or like historically?
I love to see the dresses. I don't know anything about this. We're talking about the fashion movie, and we're talking about, the fashion moment, which is the Met Gala.
Us two wearing our t-shirts.
Yeah, I'm wearing I was talking to my mom earlier we were talking about all the dresses and the outfits, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, here I am in my Old Navy special. I'm wearing an Old Navy shirt and Old Navy jeans right now. I love seeing the different dresses and the different designs that these designers come up with, but I don't really care necessarily. I just think it's cool to see it. So, and what was really cool earlier is I saw somebody like some account put a side by side, because the theme this year was fashion as art, I think, or art as fashion. I think it's one of the two. And someone put a side by side of like the outfit someone was wearing, whatever celebrity was wearing, and the actual piece of art it's referencing, which was really cool, actually. That made me appreciate some of the outfits way more. Anyway, so it's ironic that like Jeff and the missus are in charge of the Met Gala this year. So,
did you purse your lips at any of the dresses?
No, I did not.
I love that scene in the
scene
first one.
So good.
What is it like? One nod is good, two nods is really good, and then pursing
she's only
the
ever
lips.
Smiled like once.
Yeah, smiled once, and then pursing the lips is like catastrophe.
Yeah, catastrophe. She does it, and he's like, just go.
It's so good,
so good. I think the first one has better one-liners that just feel, I feel like it's much more quotable. I think the second one has some good lines, specifically from Emily Blunt, like when she's like, "May the bridges I burn light my way." So good, so funny. I laughed really hard at that. I think every line that Justin Theroux had was delivered so well. But I don't feel like, because
remember when she's like and he goes, circus monkey.
Like,
trapeze artist. She's like, "Oh my god, do you work in a circus?"
and BJ Novak is like, she's talking about herself. She's literally talking, and she's like, "Yes, man," so funny. So this is a movie that like they've talked about doing a sequel for this for a really long time, and so it was like a big deal that this is happening at all. And Meryl wasn't originally on board with the sequel, and she said, I've seen several interviews this during this press junket where she said, you know, I wanted the right script at the right time. And so I do think that because of her saying that so many times, to me, that means she very much is wanting to protect the arts and keep it from AI and from these, you know, greedy billionaires who are trying to take over the arts for their own gain or to destroy it altogether, which I think is really interesting. Something else she said recently, which I'm curious, I don't know if you saw this. I can't remember if I sent it to you guys or not in our Instagram group. She talks about how there aren't really any villains in the sense of how we have started to think of them because everything's been Marvelized, and talking about how like Marvel movies have really changed the way we view characters. And she's like, everyone in this movie is very nuanced. There's a lot to them that is not just this black and white. And so I'm curious, like, what are your thoughts on that kind of statement? I agree with it. I'm just curious, like, what do you think about that?
I think that's a good take, and it kind of reminds me of something else that she said that was, I'm paraphrasing, but it was basically along the lines of when they were considering doing a sequel, I think talks first started either in 2023 or 2024. And she said, she's on record saying something along the lines of, she used this like really strong language that I'm trying to find, but it was basically like, okay, I'm almost there. Give me just a second. Oh yeah. Now that everything's disintegrating, now that these institutions are being undermined or exploded, I wondered what they were going to do. Whenever they like, how did the sequel come about? And she was like, well, we had talks in the past and I was kind of waiting for someone to make a move because, which is interesting that they had discussed a sequel as early as like 2013. So like 6 or 7 years after, like enough time for the first movie to really become a classic, like it was a hit and a success immediately.
Yes,
but it had become like a staple. It became a staple in your household.
Right. It had cemented itself as part of the zeitgeist.
Yep. And it's been 20 years since the movie came out, like this year, which is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So. And it's, I think, one of those movies that I don't know how long it'll continue to be a part of the cultural zeitgeist, but the fact that it's lasted 20 years, I mean, there's lots of movies we go back and look at that came out in 2006 that I think a lot of people would be like, I forgot about that movie. But this is a movie most people haven't forgotten about. And part of that is the cast, right? We have Meryl Streep crushing it. I mean, this is maybe one of my, if not my favorite role she's ever been in.
This was her 14th Academy Award nomination,
which makes sense and was robbed. I don't know who won that year, but I would say
doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We have Stanley Tucci. By all
means, move at a glacial pace. You know how that pleases me.
We have Stanley Tucci, who doesn't love Stanley Tucci. This man openly had the Tooch. This man openly had an affair on his wife, and people still love him. That is huge. Do you know who he had an affair with?
Who was he married to?
He was married to a woman who actually ended up dying. I can't remember what her name was. I don't think she was famous. She had cancer, but he was cheated on her before she had cancer. Oh, it was before.
You sure about that?
I think yes. But
who did he sleep with?
He had an affair with Edie Falco from The Sopranos and Nurse Jackie. Yeah.
Interesting.
So anyway, but his first wife died, and then he got married to Emily Blunt's sister, who I think she introduced them. And so Emily Blunt is in this, and this is probably her first major like mainstream role. And then we have Anne Hathaway, who was already famous at this point, somewhat. She was in Princess Diaries, right? We saw her in that. That is what really put her into mainstream culture, especially for people my age, girls my age, right? Princess Diaries was also another favorite of mine. She was in Ella Enchanted. And then I'm trying to think, when Brokeback Mountain came out, she was really, she was in her 20s. That came out the year before Devil Wears Prada. So you pointed at me.
It was Brokeback Mountain that Anne Hathaway was their 9th pick for this movie. They really wanted Rachel McAdams, who turned it down 3 times. I didn't see why. I feel like this would have been a shoe-in for Rachel McAdams at this time, but I feel like she's also kind of... Yeah. It would have been very different, but I think it could have been funnier. Like in a way, not that Anne Hathaway's not funny in the first one, but she's really like character focused. Whereas I feel like I don't know, Rachel McAdams is just really funny. So, but
I think
Meryl Streep,
Rachel McAdams had been in more not adult comedy. She kind of had. She kind of had been, because she had been in Wedding Crashers, which came out I think in 2005. It may have been 2006. Maybe that's why she had to turn it down, because she was in Wedding Crashers. But anyway.
But Meryl Streep saw it was, I think it was before Brokeback Mountain came out, and she saw the movie, or saw some scenes with Anne Hathaway in that movie, and vouched. She said, I think it should be Anne because I think she's the right fit for this role. It was her first, she was really young. It was her first big adult role, as a
Brokeback Mountain.
Not like in a no, as a leading person. She's like a supporting character.
Yeah.
In Brokeback Mountain, she's the wife.
Right.
And watching them, is it Michelle Williams who's watching them from the stairwell?
It's Michelle Williams.
Yeah. But Rachel McAdams is more supporting. So anyway, but I was curious who else, or where everyone else was during that time. And so Stanley Tucci was in a pretty fallow period. He was in The Terminal and Road to Perdition and Lucky Number 11. No, but it was after Devil Wears Prada. He thought he was praised for his role. He's really, really good.
Oh, he's so good in this role. Yeah.
But afterwards, he couldn't find work. He doesn't know why it didn't take off for him more than it did, which I thought was interesting. It was Meryl Streep who was kind of in a fallow period. She had been in... Okay, so she had been this rom-com movie called Prime, opposite Uma Thurman, and it opened against Saw 2, and everybody forgot about it. I've never heard of Prime.
Yeah, I've never heard of it.
And then the 2004 Manchurian Candidate movie that stars Denzel Washington and is directed by Jonathan Demme, who did Silence of the Lambs. That was supposed to be a huge movie, kind of like a 9/11 paranoid thriller. It did not hit at all. And then she had Devil Wears Prada, and that same year she had Prairie Home Companion. So it's interesting thinking back, this was a downtime for her. It's Meryl Streep having a downtime, really? But that's what was happening, which is crazy.
Yeah, and then a couple years later, Mamma Mia came out, and that was a big hit and very popular, and so popular that people are wanting them to resurrect her character so that she can be in Mamma Mia 3.
Does she die in the second one?
I think she dies in the second one. I think that I've never actually seen the second one. I would love to watch it though. But anyway. So yeah, it's interesting to see where they're all out at this point, or at the point of the original. And so, but let's talk a little bit more about this one, because obviously we've talked a lot about the first one. Let's dive right in. So yeah, let's just a premise. At this point, We've kind of already shared some spoilers, but we're at this point we're gonna really get into it. So if you're still waiting to see this new one, first of all, go see it. I think you're gonna have a good time. I had a great time. I went with my mom. We saw it on a Friday afternoon, and we had a blast. So if you enjoyed the first one, you'll enjoy this one, I think. But
how many men were
at this
in
point,
your screening?
Do what?
How many men were in your screening?
I don't know. We saw it at the Dolby, and so it was like I couldn't like see everyone like I would have at at a different screening. But there were a few men. I could hear male laughter, and so after the movie, I went to the bathroom, and my mom was waiting in the lobby, and she said that she saw two like older men, like probably in their like 60s, maybe 70s, talking to each other, and one of them's like, "You waiting on the boss?" And he's like, "Yeah, waiting on my boss." And he goes, "Yeah, me too." He goes, "Did you go see that Prada movie?" And he's like, "Yeah, we saw it. Didn't like it as much as the first one, but we had a good time." And he's like, "What about you?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's how we felt too. We had a good time, but wasn't as good as the first one, I don't think." Throughout the whole movie, you could hear, you know how sometimes like old men laugh like very loud and have no idea how loud they're laughing.
They haven't seen anything funny in like 3 months.
They haven't seen anything funny in so long, and it's like that's my mom and I are both positive that it was one of those guys that was laughing like that, because there was one guy in the movie that was just laughing really loudly. We could distinctly hear him above everyone else. It was really funny, actually. So also it was kind of sweet because like it was my mom and me, and then right next to us, even though there was no one else in our row, right next to us, there's this mom with her little girl who's probably about 8. And so it was really cute because I was like, oh, this is going to be the thing for her too. Like, this is going to be a movie that hopefully her and her mom always come back to. And I thought that was really sweet. So, this movie starts with Andy at a journalist awards ceremony, essentially. And as she is about to receive an award, she and the rest of her colleagues get a text saying they've been fired via text, which is horrible. And I've seen, I don't know if you've seen this, I've seen a lot of people who have worked as journalists or in a similar industry say like that hit really close to home to them because they've received their like termination that way, which is so impersonal, so terrible. It's awful. Anyway, and then BJ Novak is the son of the owner of Runway, the guy who owns the company that
it's like the Condé Nast equivalent. It's like I want to say Collier's, but it's not Collier's. It's something else.
Stewart is the dad's name. And so they find
is the dad's name.
Irv.
Yeah,
you're right. Stewart is Kenneth Branagh's character.
Yeah.
Some other guy.
And
so they see the video of Andy just losing it, and so they ask to hire her
F-bomb.
after.
That's their one PG-13 F-bomb. So
that's their one PG-13 F-bomb, and so they decide to hire her after there's been a scandal with Runway, which was a company they partnered with, used sweatshops, right? And so they hire her. She comes in not knowing Miranda has no idea that this is what is happening. And so from there, they work together again, and they end up having to work with Emily, who is now working at Dior, and she is wanting all these perks essentially because they're a brand partner, and that's a big deal, and they need to have that brand partnership. So and that's kind of where we see Nigel still working very closely alongside Miranda. Miranda has two new assistants.
Despite being really betrayed at the very end of the first film.
Right. And so we see all that. Simone Ashley plays the new Emily, her first assistant, and then Caleb Heron plays Charlie, who's her second assistant. And so, which he's so funny. I love him. I love coming across his videos on Instagram. He kills me. And so anyway, that's beside the point. But so that's kind of the premise.
When I go to the
That's where
bathroom,
we're
I
at.
had a venti. Was it worth it? No.
No.
That was funny. Simone Ashley's role of just like nod or like going whenever Miranda says something that's like not appropriate. I thought that was super, super funny because it wasn't
really
overdone.
funny.
It was
No.
like I was listening. The big picture, they were saying like, oh, that was like too tongue in cheek. I was like, no, I thought that was like the perfect amount because it's like recurring enough. And she mentions suicide, methadone, and other stuff. That's like, just don't say that sort of stuff.
Right.
That's like very
Yeah.
boomer of you. And I thought that was like a
Yes.
good subtle thing. Like you just can't, you don't do that anymore. You're gonna lose a lot of people, lose a lot of respect.
Right. Yeah. Which is like, I mean, how many people who are in positions of power like Miranda have said like things that are not appropriate, not okay anymore, and someone has to like either rein them in or they get fired before they can get reined in, right? And so I think it's a really like funny intergenerational bit that they do that, you know, Simone Ashley is either like very young millennial, I don't know how old she is, but either young millennial or older Gen Z, and so having to like have this dynamic between these two generations is I think really funny.
Yeah.
Especially as go ahead.
No, you go. Finish
I was going to say, especially as like Runway, like all of the fashion industry has really veered towards this like very inclusive and diverse, you know, like they're trying to
body
include all
negative?
those things. Body negative. Yeah.
that one got me really
That was really funny. Trying to include those things into their magazine and what they do. And so you can't have the person in charge of all of it saying stuff like, you know, it looks like we have a methadone clinic, or, you know, I'm going to kill myself if someone says that to me, right? Which is funny because I actually saw an old interview with Meryl Streep where she's like, someone asks her a question and she's like, I can't read that, and she's like, oh well, just like this is what it says, and she goes, don't tell me, I might kill myself if you tell me, and she just like says it just offbeat, and it's like from 20 years, I think it's from the original premiere. She says, I'm gonna kill myself, and it's like, you can't say that, you can't say stuff like that anymore. But it's funny that like
a lot of Gen Z do. I don't know.
A lot of
yeah. That's what's weird. Is like you can't say it in
weird.
a corporate setting, but like to another Gen Z person, you could say it.
Do you know?
Like I learned this from my Gen Z coworker, who's probably going to listen to this episode. What's up, Dane?
Yeah. What up, Dane? I had so many students in my class who, I had one in particular who, there were a couple times where she was like, and I'm like, what? Finish that sentence. And she goes, no, I don't think I want to. And I was like, yeah, please be careful about what you say in front of your professor who's also a therapist. Like, you can't say stuff like that, man. But yeah, they say it all the time. I had to go ahead.
I had to get onto him because he was saying it as a joke, but eventually I was like, just stop saying that. He would be frustrated about something, and he'd be like, if this keeps happening, if she keeps making me do these revisions, I'm gonna bring a gun to work. And I was like,
oh my God.
It was funny. It was funny the first time, and then the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth time, I was like, hey, come here. I was like, stop saying that out loud. Like, you can say it to me in a low voice, but don't like say it because it's like an open floor play.
Yeah,
you know, everybody can hear it. Just stop. Don't do it. And he's like, okay. So anyway.
So, but yes, honestly, Gen Z says a lot of stuff that is not PC, but
pretty unhinged,
it's very unhinged. And
but it's only to each other. It's only if it's like a trusted, environment.
Yeah.
I'm not that far removed from it, but I'm far enough removed where I'm like, Not that I think it's inappropriate, but I just like don't think it's that funny. So
Sure. Well,
yeah.
some of it's like, whoa,
Some of it's not funny.
Some of it's
too
not
far,
funny.
and some of it's like
it's very concerning.
not my tempo. So
yeah. So
when they are having that video where it's like in the methadone clinic in New Jersey, that whole scene, and they're walking really around, that video looks terrible. And I don't know anything about like the color grading and the lighting. All of it looks bad. So I thought of Walter and Walker, and I knew that they would be like, yes, Miranda, that looks awful. The cinematography is awful. You know, the costumes look bad and all that stuff. Can I tell you one of my main frustrations with the movie?
No, you can't tell me one of your main frustrations on our movie podcast.
How about our other movie podcast?
On our other movie podcast.
Other movie podcast.
Our podcast. Yes, please tell me.
I was hoping that Andy was going to be still Andy, but okay. I only know this. I don't know journalists like personally. But I mean, I listen to a lot of journalism and I read a lot of journalism. And I feel like when you're a journalist for 20 years and you go in depth on like all the different topics that Andy has, you get some pretty thick skin. Where you're just like, you know, these billionaires, they're just messing everything up. And there's this sense of like, oh, she was such a great, like, Miranda was such a great mentor figure to me. She's like, she's the same person, but it's almost like she's the exact same person. There's a little bit in the writing where I was hoping that she was going to come in and be like, I'm not taking shit from you. Like, I'm going to do my job. And just let me finish real quick. I was appreciated that they made her more she's still competent, but there's a degree to where I was really hoping that she would have just like a stronger, harder edge, because my perception is that people who have worked in journalism are like scrappy and don't take shit. And but I know that's like not her character, but I think that should have been who her character became a little bit more than was like fleshed out in the movie. I still like loved her performance, and I'm not like upset with the movie the way it was, but I feel like it was I was like, okay, you did this whole thing with Emily and you didn't think that maybe she wanted to take over Runway to get back at like I was like, really, you know, like it's just stuff like that where it's like, I'm not mad about it. I was just kind of like, if you've been in journalism for 20 years, you couldn't like, I don't know, you're smart. You're a smart person. It was just one of those like, you know, fallacies of the movie. So I had to like get that in, you know, before.
No, I think that's great. Here's kind of my thought on that. I think that that's a fair critique for sure. I also think sometimes when we are
journalists are always also like really idealistic. I understand that too. So that's my thing.
And I think that that's something that we see in her, that she is idealistic. I also don't know if I agree that all that's like for every journalist. Like I think a lot of journalists are very cynical actually. And maybe
that's where Scrappy comes in, I guess.
Anyway. I think that sometimes when we are put back in places that we are far removed from, without even realizing it, we become who we were at the time instead of who we are now. Like, I think that it would be a lot easier than either of us want to admit that if we were put back on like UCA's campus, it would be really easy for us to kind of slip back into our college selves. I mean, think about like when you hang out with a bunch of your friends from college or from high school, it is easy to fall back into that, right? I have had that experience where I have been with some like college friends and someone from my adult life has seen me and been like, Whoa, this is a side of you that we don't see. And so for better or for worse, right? And so I wonder if was, and maybe it wasn't. Maybe this is me. I don't know. I don't know if I'm really trying to defend it. I think that's just that was my thought with it. Was she was put back into this place that she was as a plucky 20-something millennial who had a lot of hope, and because we were told, especially the older millennials were told, hey, you just got to work hard and grind it out, and you'll be rewarded for it. And here we are 20 years later, and that's not the case at all, actually. And I think that the sequel does a really good job reflecting that, of actually that's all bullshit. Like,
Yep.
In fact, the harder you work, the less you might be rewarded for it, actually. So, that doesn't mean you don't work hard. It means you're not necessarily going to move up the ladder in the way that we were told you would, right? Mm-hmm. Or told we would if we worked hard. And so that, anyway, that's my kind of interpretation of her character, is that she's put back into this place she was as a bright-eyed and bushy-tailed 20-something, and we see her grow throughout the course of the original. But I don't know, sometimes we just slip right back into who we were at a certain point in our lives when we are put into that same environment. So, but I do think, yeah, like, it was like, you didn't think once that Emily, who is dating this really gross billionaire who, was with Lucy Liu, and then they separated, and he's did all this stuff,
AI and data centers.
Yeah. You didn't once think, hey, maybe something's up here. But I also think that she is idealistic, and I do think she's really hopeful, which I actually really like that, because I think, we've talked about this a lot recently, and, over the past probably a couple years with the movies we've covered, is there's a lot of cynicism, right? And a lot of the things we've covered have been pretty cynical, but some of the things we've covered have also been really hopeful. And that
2026 has been like way more hopeful historically.
Yes. Yeah.
I would say, like, since we started the podcast.
Yeah, I think 2026 as a whole has been way more optimistic and hopeful in the films we've covered, that especially new releases, than we have, since the beginning of this podcast and the 6 years we've been doing it. And so, which has been really, like, I think that's great. I think we need more hopefulness in the world, because it does not feel like there's a lot of hope in the world right now. And I think that we need to see characters believe in other people, right? And what I really love about this, I'm kind of skip to the end here. So after the fallout, where Miranda has already figured out what's going to happen, and how Emily and, I don't even remember Justin Theroux's character's name.
Benji.
Basically. Right?
No.
Benji?
Yeah, Benji. Yep.
Benji. That Benji's going to buy out the company and be in charge, and put Emily in Miranda's position. I was like, man, I really kind of hate that this is how it's ending. So I was really excited that there was this, like, kind of redeeming moment where there's hope for her at the end of, like, when she meets with Andy, right? And they have lunch together, and Andy asks her where she's at. She's working for Coach, which got a good laugh from everyone in our theater. Like, people thought that was really funny that she was working for Coach. Because I've seen this recently where a lot of people are complaining that Coach, because, Coach used to be, like, kind of a big deal. It wasn't like, it's not Dior by any means, but, like, for here in the flyover part of the country, Coach was a big deal, and it was also genuine leather, and a lot of people are like, this is fake leather, like, this is not as good of quality as it used to be. So that was, like, an extra bit of, like, humor to me, that she's working for this company now. But Andy still was like, hey, you're gonna get to where you want to be. It just iconic. Isn't You're iconic, which was so sweet. And Emily starts like tearing up, and she's trying really hard not to emote out of that because she probably feels terrible about herself and what she was trying to do and screwing all these people over. And here is this woman who she made so much fun of, when they worked together, and was like honestly kind of mean to her, who still is still really plucky actually, and really believes in her. And I think and is willing to forgive her.
That's like critical to retain, to make sure that Andy is still her. And I wasn't necessarily like wanting the whole tone of the movie or Andy to be like more dark or cynical by any means.
Yeah. I think, I don't think the sequel would have worked if that was the case. I don't think they would have signed on to do the sequel if that was the case with her character.
Right.
But I do understand what you're saying with that. But I love that they had this redemptive moment between Emily and Andy, so that I think, again, it shows the nuance in people, and that we actually have to have repair within the ruptures between us. And if we don't, then what are we doing, right? Like, we're not going to have relationships if we're not trying to repair these ruptures, which is a very therapy term for me to use, or a phrase for me to use, but that's what we see. And I think that that's really beautiful. And I actually got like kind of emotional about it, because I'm just like, this is so good. I'm so glad that they're doing this to her, character, for Emily. And I loved it.
And she called her and wanted to be friends. And I thought, and Andy's like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
And she's like, stop that.
She goes to hold her hand, and she goes, I'm not going to hold your hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, I would like to be friends. So.
And also Miranda gave Nigel his moment too. And I thought that was beautiful.
I think if the movie had not done that, it would have failed. Like I think
I agree.
And that's why I was really entertained. I really liked the sequel. And and I think it's like a tiny bit just generally like stronger than the first one, although I haven't seen the first one like as much as you. Kind of going back to my first point.
I think in some ways it's a lot stronger. I think that there's it's
like more of an emotional
hopeful
core in that like you feel like, I felt like when I was watching, and I don't have this relationship to like, I like, you watch the movie and you know that like Emily Blunt is playing her role. She's supposed to be prickly and kind of mean, but like not like a bad person.
Right.
And Nigel is like really well-rounded, but then this is what it was. I didn't express this. Him getting shafted felt so wrong, because you get a sense of like he's so good at what he does. He's been loyal to Miranda, and he has helped Andy. Like he's kind of he's done all that, and they get to continue that into the sequel. But the reason that like I felt that way about the first one at the very end was because it's like he goes, well, I guess he says something like, I'll just have to wait for the next one. I just have to wait for the next one. And I'm like, that feels like wrong to like end his story from the first one that way. But at the same time, like I do like that it's kind of like a bittersweet ending, because Miranda figures it out, because ultimately she's a mixed bag of a character too, and you don't want it. You ultimately get to the point where it's like, yeah, I want her to like lose control. You don't. You want her to like, because you resonate with her wanting to do good work and not get screwed over. And in order to keep everything, she has to screw over Nigel. And like I get that, but then it's also like, okay, you do have an obligation to not just do some patronizing fan service to make sure that Nigel gets a good moment, but that there is some sort of like the sequel is a lot more emotional.
I agree.
Between the characters, which I think is what I responded to.
Yes. Yeah. I think that the sequel is much more emotional, and it was interesting because Andy was the one who was like, hey, let Nigel do this. Like, let Nigel speak at this giant event, and Miranda's like, he doesn't want that. And it genuinely seemed like, does she even know this man who she's worked with for over 20 years? Like, we don't know how long they've worked together when we watched the first one, but it's implied that it's been a while that they've worked together, right? So, probably 30 years at this point that they've worked together. And she's like, he doesn't want this. And when she goes up to him and says, hey, I want you to do this, he's like, no, I can't. And she's like, no, you can. That even shows, like, even Nigel, as much as he wants these things, he's still scared of Miranda because of the powers she wields. And so it was really sweet to see her be like, no, you can, you wrote it, this is yours, and I want you to have it. Because I think, again, people are nuanced. I think in some ways that was maybe the first time she saw Nigel as a person and not just an employee. So I think that was just really, it was really touching, I think, to see that happen. And again, Andy was the one who was the catalyst in that. She really is the heartbeat of the film. Like the rest of the characters are very important too, but I think that Andy is this heartbeat, this optimism that is so important to these dynamics and all of this. And it's really cool to see all that like play out 20 years later. And there were really great like callbacks to the original. And one of the things, as we were coming up on time here, at the very end of the movie, you see her in the cut off the sweater vest that was the cerulean sweater from the original one. Did you pick up on that? Andy.
Oh,
in the
cool.
very last scene when she's walking through the office and is talking to Nigel, she's wearing a sweater vest that's been cut. You can tell it's been cut, and is wearing like a button up underneath that is the cerulean sweater that has that very very just impactful
monologue
very
from Miranda.
Yeah, that's really kind of been immortalized, that Miranda is like, and you say none of this matters, but you're wearing that sweater that was picked out from in this room, or by the people in this room, from a pile of stuff, right? And it's so good. And she's wearing that exact, like, such a great little subtle callback that, again, someone who maybe who's only seen the first one once wouldn't necessarily pick up on. But for people like me who've been watching this movie for 20 years, I immediately clocked it and I was like, that's a sweater. And it was so cool. But
cerulean? Is that how you pronounce
cerulean.
it? Cerulean.
Yeah. It's not blue. It's not, I don't remember the rest of this. I'm a terrible fan because I can't remember the rest of the colors. She goes, it's in fact cerulean. And she like names, cerulean, all this stuff. Yeah, it's such a great scene. And yeah, so it was a great little callback. And seeing Miranda, I think Miranda's much more humanized in this one. But also what I love is the scene where she and Andy are in the car after the deal has been made, and actually Lucy Liu's character. About this
before we ended.
Yeah. Lucy Liu's character ends up buying it because she has all this money. She's like, I don't know what to do with all of it, but I want to use it for good. And so she, kind of like Jeff Bezos's ex-wife,
Mackenzie Scott. Yep.
Yeah, Mackenzie Scott, who has donated so much of her money that she got from the divorce and is like using it for good. Lucy Liu's character ends up buying Runway, and so they all get to keep their jobs essentially. And in the car, after the deal has been made, Miranda is talking to Andy about how she loves to work. She loves what she does, and she she's sacrificed so much. She sacrificed time away from her kids. It's impacted multiple marriages, right? But she loves what she does. And so I'm curious, like, yeah, you wanted to talk about it too. So like, what are your thoughts? What was that like for you to see that? Tell me.
I was just remembering in that scene, she goes, you really woke me up. Like, I don't know what was wrong with me at that point. And that's kind of, I think, what the resolution, I'm also glad was there. That's like, Andy is like much, much more of a powerhouse at this point in terms of like, she is still naive, but more of like a focused, reckless, like, okay, I'm doing it, I'm going back up the stairs, even though it's like not gonna go well, and it doesn't go well, or I'm gonna like organize this backroom deal because like I don't want this and Miranda's not doing anything,
right?
And then you realize, okay, that wasn't the right move, but also Miranda did not have a grand plan, and that like that set her on the direction to actually do something. And because the next day she's like, all right, I got a lot of phone calls for you to make. We have a lot of work to do. She's like ready, and she has the idea to go to Sasha. So I liked that as like kind of the bookend to the movie of like mutual respect and growing in a field and all that stuff. And then at the very end, you also learn that Nigel was the one who, as soon as he saw Andy's viral moment in her awards speech, he's the one who texted it to Irv and his son. And so he was the one who was like, really got her, like had her back the whole time, which I thought
pulled her,
really
so. Pulled her back in and had her back. And he said, you're my girl. And it was so sweet, because I think that their relationship, a lot of it is unspoken, right? Like what they mean to each other is really unspoken, but you can see it, and you hear it in those moments, right? When he's like, you're my girl. And it's really, really sweet. And I think that they have a really sweet friendship throughout the first one, and definitely in the second one too. And so I think we all need an Andy in our life. Want someone who just believes in us and is going to have our back and want us to be who we are fully, because that's the best version of ourselves. And it's just, I think we just need someone like that in our lives. And I loved the last shot of the film where it pans out and you see Miranda and Nigel and Andy in their offices all working, and it just it was beautiful, because I think like it would be really easy to say that Andy's story should have ended with her getting married to that guy and starting a family and that sort of thing, which is great if that's
women gotta work in this economy.
But in this economy,
that's kind of what the movie's about.
yeah. And so it was I thought it was a really beautiful way to end the film.
Before we end, I was gonna shout out Helen J. Shen, who plays Jin Chow, Andy's assistant. I thought she was really good. Like a couple
she
scenes,
was so
like,
funny.
Just, like,
you're right.
Steals the scene.
Yes.
And then Lady Gaga was really good for her one scene, and musical performance, but she does have a speaking role. And then
did you see how she got on, like got that part? So Meryl Streep called. They were wanting some pop artist, but they didn't know who. And she's like, "What if I get Lady Gaga?" And they're like, "You can do that." And she's like, "Let me just make a phone call." So she calls Lady Gaga up and is like, "Hey, what are you doing at this time?" Yeah, and she's like, "Great." And she goes, "You don't know the part yet." Like, she didn't even tell her what it was for. And she's like, "Doesn't matter. If you want me to do something, I'll do it." I'm like, "Wow, what power? That's awesome. What authority?" Which also, to be fair, if Meryl Streep called me up and was like, "Hey, I want you to do this," I'd be like, "Yes." Doesn't matter when. Doesn't matter where. I'm there. I'm there, babe.
Carl Anthony Towns shows up.
There were a lot of cameos.
Okay. Um, is Kelsey Plum is a WNBA player.
Yes.
This is how like culturally oblivious I am. I thought Heidi Klum was Kelsey Plum when I was like
First of all,
reading
it's
about.
Heidi Klum.
Is it Klum?
Yeah, Heidi Klum. You don't know who Heidi Klum is?
I'm putting myself out there. I do now, but I was
okay.
Wait, isn't that WNBA player? And then I was like,
no,
nope, it is not. And then
no.
Kara Swisher, John Baptiste, isn't he in it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were okay. I was I don't think Sam Williamson is gonna listen to this episode, but past guest, Sam Williamson, past and future guest, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
He was over like 2 or 3 years ago. I don't remember. It may have been the Barbenheimer Oscars. We were watching that ceremony, and Jean Baptiste is like just randomly doing a song from one of the original songs that's nominated, and he was doing the live performance at the show. And Sam, I'm just sitting there, and Sam goes, "I hate Jean Baptiste." And I was like, "Who hates Jean Baptiste?" And he goes, "I don't know, just like his whole thing, like his face." And I was like, "What? Where did this come from?" And he
wow,
like,
hating on Jean Baptiste,
but we also
who seems like a really good dude.
Yeah, he just seems like a really nice person.
Here's the deal.
Anyway.
What's funny though is one of our friends from college thinks that he is like an industry plant because like why is he winning all this, like all these Grammys and stuff? Like who actually listens to him? Do you listen to him?
No, but isn't he like, doesn't he produce stuff or does he not?
Like some of the Grammys he has produced stuff. He did the music for Soul, the Pixar movie, with Jamie Foxx and Tina Fey. He did the music for that. And
like the original songs.
Yes, yeah. I think he did the music for another Disney movie that was probably the Barbenheimer year of the Oscars. But anyway, I don't know anyone who actually listens to him. He was Stephen Colbert's musician, like band leader or whatever. His Questlove. Yeah. For a long time before he started doing his own solo stuff. And so, but anyway.
Would you want to ever like do something that's just about movie music and scores?
Oh yeah, for sure. I
have had that thought.
Yes.
I think we should talk about that offline because I'm like, I mean, I listened to like the F1, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, and Sentimental Value, like those scores for the first like 3 or 4 months of the year when work was like insane and I had to like listen to something to help me focus. And I was like, I want to dig into this more. So anyway, we should talk about that.
We can talk about that. Yeah. But before is there anything else from these two movies?
I think we covered it all. This is the second Anne Hathaway movie that we're covering
back to back.
Or that we covered back to. Oh yeah, that's crazy. I didn't think about that.
That is crazy. Yeah.
And she's an angel, and
love Anne Hathaway.
She's gonna be in End of Oak Street and The Odyssey, and what else? Verity.
Oh yeah, I was like, there's another one,
and probably another one, I think. But it's it's the summer of Anne, the year of Anne,
the year of Anne, and Anne Hathaway, and we're gonna watch it. Everything she's in.
She is the Hathaway, the Hath of Truth, and the Hath of Light. I'm so glad you like that.
I did. That would have been funnier on Mother Mary. I wish we would have said that on Mother Mary.
Well, she is Mother, so
she is Mother. That's right.
Yeah.
I don't exactly. I still don't really understand what that means, but I agree. That's what the youth say. So
I need, if you want to vamp for a second, I need to get our schedule up so that we can see what we're gonna talk about next.
Yeah, I really do love Anne Hathaway, and I think she's wonderful and such a great. I think she's an underrated actress, and I think I said that on the last episode too. So
yep.
Do I need to? You got it.
I got it. Apparently, our next episode is Smokey and the Bandit, which I've never seen. Okay, so you've seen it.
Yes, it's been a long time. I don't think I've watched it as an adult.
Let's go. Okay. Well, thank you for listening. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Share this with some of your friends who love Devil Wears Prada and or loves or despises the sequel. Because I know it doesn't have like a perfect... Sorry, I got up so early. I know it doesn't have like a perfect... it has a really high... It got an A- cinema score, which is crazy. That's like really, crazy. Really high. Yeah. So I think people were just feeling really good. I think that like the movie's doing what it needs to do. Anyway, our music is by Corden Jocks. Our art is by Sean Cohen. Thank you to Walter Lyle for editing this episode. And our next episode is going to be Smokey and the Bandit. So we will see you guys next time on the Flippity Flip. It says it's live.
Oh, I don't hear it.
Oh.
Did you turn the volume up? Turn the volume up. It's up?
It's up. Oof. Yeah.
All right. Well, Walter, he can do something.
Hopefully you got that. Bye.
Bye.